what does art mean? At least what does it mean to me and what does it mean to fellow creatives? I don't want to go too much in detail about my story. I've talked about it in other videos that I'll link below. The really quick short story of it, I had a business.
Ooh, girl, you're so professional.
Obviously, the pandemic hit and things were super, super stressful. The supply chain was falling apart and nobody really knew the state of not just our business, but many businesses. It was quite a scary time. And so I naturally leaned back into my art. Honestly, kind of as like an escape. It was therapy for me. At the time, I was also going sober. I quit drinking. That was a journey in and of itself. So I was just dealing with a lot of different things personally, professionally, and ultimately leaned to art. For me, creating was an escape. For me, creating was therapy. It was a time that I could just sort of like lock myself in the studio and just work through various different emotions, various different feelings, good, bad, ugly, all the above. And I used color and expressive strokes and abstract patterns and just all of the elements of art to sort of purge these things from me. Also to connect back deeper with myself. I've always painted. It's something that I've done for many, many years, and I had quit doing that. And so it was almost like I had this buildup from not creating and also just the state of affairs, both going sober and then the pandemic. Let's dive into the topic at hand. What does art mean? For me, a good piece of art is something that when you look at it, it creates some type of emotion for you. Something stirs within you. If you look at a piece of art and nothing hits you in any kind of way, it doesn't upset you, it doesn't make you curious to want to learn more, it just kind of falls dead. To me, I can't say that's not art, but that's just maybe not art for you. Art is hard to define. It's therapy, it's healing. It's connection, it's communication, it's color and pattern and texture and movement. And it's something that when you look at it, it stirs up something deep within you. And again, it either makes you curious for more, it makes you upset, it makes you start to question things, it makes you want to either understand more about the art itself or understand more about the artist. And not every type of art is going to it's not gonna hit you. You know, it's like music. Music for so many people, that's art. That can be, there's certain songs that can come on and they immediately want to turn them off and change the radio station. And there's others that can play on repeat endlessly and bring tears to their eyes and take them back to a place in time in their life with a very specific memory or a very specific moment that they shared with someone. And to me, that's art. Art is something that connects us on a deeper level, either to ourselves, to the artist, to the art, to the world, to nature. But ultimately, it's a form of connection and it's a form of communication. And for me, as a working artist, I need that connection first to myself. I need to process, the ideas that I have going through my head. I need to get them out visually. And that can be in a multiple different mediums. It doesn't have to just be painting. It can be drawing. It can be digital art. It can be photography or videography. But for me, art is essential. It is what makes this human experience so incredibly beautiful and worthwhile. It's love, it's pain, it's beauty, it's sacrifice, it's everything. Just going out in nature for me is like the best gallery in the entire world. I mean, you can go to museums and look at incredible works that have been hanging and that have been around for, centuries. But to me, stepping outside into nature and looking at the patterns, looking at the textures, the sounds, the smells, like all the different colors, that to me is art. And so where I draw a lot of my inspiration is not just from internal processing and thoughts and feelings and kind of needing to purge that, but also just from the beautiful natural world that exists around us. Like I have a tattoo, I don't know if you can see it, of the Fibonacci sequence. I don't know if you can see that. That is in a lot of ways like the mathematical equation for everything that is beautiful in the universe. The Da Vinci Man, like we in and of ourselves are nature and our art. I know that I have a ton of creatives that watch this channel and watch my videos, but for those that don't feel creative and maybe you've abandoned your creativity for quite some time, and you're just getting back into it, find the art that works with you and works for you. And that like, when you look at it, it hits you deep within and it makes you feel something. I think if it's making you feel something, double clicking on that feeling, whether it's a good one or a bad one, is such a worthy thing to do. To appreciate art and to love art, you don't have to know like all the specifics of how to draw or any of that stuff. Some of what makes the best artists and the best creatives are those that have good style, whether that's like they know how to dress themselves or they know how to decorate or they, whatever it may be, they have like a really eclectic taste in music. And so they can like make the most amazing playlist. Those are creatives. Those are creative people. Before you start creating yourself, sometimes you kind of like cultivate and curate art that's around you from other artists. And you're able to sort of take all of that in and showcase that in a way, in your own way, that is your own art. And again, that could be like interior design in your home or your Spotify or Pandora or Apple Music playlist. I hope this makes sense. Basically, make art, view art, appreciate art. It slows you down. It connects you with others. It connects you with yourself. It creates, I think, a really good internal dialogue and can also create a really incredible external dialogue that you can start to, through your art, open yourself up to so many beautiful people that are out there. Once I was creating heavily, I started doing a lot of shows and I started putting my work out there and I was traveling and doing all these different types of shows that were in person because I didn't have a big social media following and I wanted to get my art out there in the world quite literally and physically. And so I did that. I did exactly that. And I met some of the coolest people. Like I met this one particular designer that worked on the Family Guy set. I just connected with so many awesome people that had I not put my work out into the world, I would not have connected with. Art is worth it. It's frustrating. The creative process is so frustrating. And I akin that to, I talked about this in another video, but I akin that to like understanding a language, but not quite being able to communicate and like be fluent in it. And I think art is something that you first understand or you want to understand. And so you try to learn and you try to learn and you try to learn, but I'm not sure if there's ever like a mastery. I'm not sure if you ever actually get to this like final destination of fluency in the language of art, because it's a constant evolution. And there's so many different, like, if we're using the metaphor of language, like so many different words, and it's complex, but that complexity is what drives the creative process. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it worthwhile. That's what makes you drawn to art. That's what makes me drawn to art. I think ultimately there's never going to be a regret for making something. And if you're in the process or wanting to be in the process of making something, I have another video that's titled Stop Overthinking It, like just do it, just start. So watch that. But also sometimes you have to, again, curate and consume and sort of marinate in specific ideas and specific executions before you're ready to start creating your art. All of this to be said, like, what does art mean? Art means whatever you want it to mean. That's the beauty of it. Thank you guys for supporting my art. Part of that is trying to make these videos and learning how to do this alongside of my creative practice, which is making art. So wherever you are, good night, good morning, and happy creating, everyone.